change is coming, my fellow Americans. You will own nothing and you will be happy.
Hey everybody, breaking news today. National Association of Realtors just put out a groundbreaking settlement offer that, if accepted by the courts, will forever, folks, change how real estate is sold. It will change how much sellers forever pay real estate commissions. It's going to cut probably $50 billion out of the real estate market in terms of cost savings when hiring a realtor within the next year. And in fact, if this is approved by the courts, it's going to go into effect as early as mid-July. Further, these are going to have effects on how you shop for homes. And folks, I did not want this video to take too long, so there's going to be minimal editing. I'm almost shooting this live, but I want to go over this because this was just released to me from the president of National Association of Realtors. This is in my inbox within the last hour, and the information in it blew my mind. So I'm like, I was planning on the weekend video. I had to stop and get this out because, folks, this is going to massively disrupt how real estate is forever sold from this point forward. There is also something I would point out. If you do not know the backstory, there has been multiple major commission lawsuits. One of the largest one is Sitzer Burnett. This particular lawsuit was started over the idea that realtors should not be, when you go to sell your house, you sit down with this listing agent. There shouldn't be this person telling you, you're going to pay me X, you're going to pay the buyer X. There's this idea in real estate, particularly it's a rule for the MLS, that's called you must cooperate. If you are a listing broker, you bring a property for sale, you put it in the base where all the realtors advertise homes, there must be an offer for the other realtors to take advantage of commission. So in your mind, there's no set commissions, but that is what's under attack here. So essentially, in the overview of this, National Association of Realtors put out and said, the agreement would release NAR from any past misgivings. So because we've done business a certain way, you have to now release nearly all National Association of Realtors going backwards at the tune of a payout of nearly $500 million. So among that, okay, so this payout of $418 million would be paid out approximately over 4 years. But folks, look at this. This is the major driver. Compensation, okay, is going to be moved off the MLS. This is groundbreaking. Okay, so NAR has agreed to put in place a new rule prohibiting any buyer compensation. So for instance, if you had a realtor come to your house and you said, Mr. Agent, you're going to charge me 2.5% to list my house, and then you're going to put 2.5 or 3% in the MLS for the buying side broker. A lot of us kind of have done this in the past. We've experienced something like this. And again, sub note, commission's always negotiable. I'm not saying that this is a standard, but I'm saying maybe you paid 3 and 3, maybe you paid 3.5 and 3.5, or whatever. I mean, you could have paid any number of amounts. But the point is, in this settlement, the idea of a seller signing up, putting their home in the MLS for the brokers to sell the house, and then pre-agreeing to pay a commission that gets put in the MLS is gone. If this is approved, no more offers of compensation as a standard on any listing. No listing will look different to an agent. So we go in the MLS, you know, some listings might offer us 2%, some might offer us 3%. None of that, okay? None of that is going to happen anymore. And here's the deal. The interesting thing where I'm at in Orlando, in December, we passed the law, or we passed an update to our code or our standards, our rules, if you will, that you can now offer 0 in the MLS. Okay, I've seen listings recently that are 0 or $1. Okay, that is now going to 0. Nothing will be offered as early. Okay, this is mid-July 2024. If this is approved, and this will go in. Now get this, folks. Additionally, from now on, written agreements for MLS participants acting for buyers will have to be in writing. Okay, while NAR, Association of Realtors, has been advocating for the use of written agreements for years, this now doesn't happen, right? If you're a buyer, do you have to sign a written agreement to work with an agent? No. You call an agent, you just jump on the internet, and someone drives over to a house, stands in front of it with you. They don't even know if you're pre-qualified. They don't know anything about you, and you get to see the house. That is changing under this agreement, okay? Says, while NAR has advocated for many years, in this settlement, we have agreed to require, so this will be a requirement for us as agents. If we're going to work with a buyer, we have to enter a written agreement with buyers. So here's the deal. When that takes place, you're going to be a buyer in June or July or August. If this gets approved, you will call an agent, and that agent will be now saying to you, you will not get to this house unless you sign an agreement with me. You will need to be my client under written terms. No different than you hire, if you were selling your house, you hired them and they signed a contract. You were kind of, to a degree, married to them. So this will enter into and play out as we go. Now, further down, it goes into implications for members. As far as it relates to practice, it says there will continue to be in many ways in which brokers can be compensated, including through offers of compensation communicated off the MLS. As we have long believed, that is interests of the buyers, sellers, blah, blah, blah. We've always wanted to use the MLS, but that would no longer be an option. So what they're saying is from now on, the seller hires an agent to sell their house. They're going to pay the seller X amount of dollars, the listing agent. Now that they may have a conversation, say, oh, what if I get a call from a broker that says, hey, would you pay me 2.5? Are you okay with me compensating them? There might be some pre-discussions as to how this will play out. I'm sure it's going to happen very similarly this way. But then beyond that, the actual buyer would then already pre-agree to some degree what that agent would be paid. So you're a buyer, you say, okay, Mr. Agent, I will make sure you at least get 2%. So if the seller isn't paying anything, maybe I'll pay it. So now buyers might actually come into the conversation as to compensation. How will this affect certain price ranges, right? If you're a buyer in the 300s, for instance, you're an entry-level buyer, you don't have a ton of money to pay for an agent. So in those cases, what will happen? There's going to be a lot less representation. This is what a lot of agents will argue is people that are poor are not going to get well represented. Well, I'll tell you one thing. After July, you better have an agent ready to show your house to really everybody, because in reality, there might be a steep drop off, and ultimately the listing agent themselves might become completely responsible for selling the house to any given person for the first time in the country, right? And by the way, in Europe and other countries, I would say, and I believe I've asked another broker in the UK this, and I think that the statistics show that in other countries, apart from the lister, the person that actually signs to sell the house, only like 20% of buyers actually hire someone. And could that be the future for America, where you hire one agent and they're basically responsible ultimately for all the traffic in your house? So folks, you can see how this might play out. There actually might be a narrowing of a two-party agent system going forward. There's obviously going to be an increase in skill sets for agents helping buyers. And ultimately, I think, folks, because honestly, you think how easy the real estate business has been for agents. It's been a very efficient machine. And I will say the consumer benefits from this. So I'm not slapping one side to the benefit of another. If you look at other countries, their homes don't sell as fast as those in America. Like America's homes, probably you pay more to list and sell your house in America than you might in the UK. But we consistently, numbers that I've been given over the past couple of years show that our market is more efficient because there's a system of here's the buyers, here's the listings, and we're marrying them very efficiently. It's done very well. So there's a very high level approach to marketing houses in a systematic way that doesn't exist. So that is something that, America brings to the table, but that will be changing. And I think overall, that means there's going to be less money in the exchange for the marketing costs overall. I think over time, you say, Jared, what is the long-ranging implications of this being approved? Okay. Number one, you are going to see a steep reduction in how many realtors there are in the next year. My opinion. Okay. I believe membership is going to fall off like a rock. Number two, you will not drive around and just look at houses without assistance of a realtor being signed to you. However, because that is true, there will probably also be more open house type events that will allow buyers in, knowing that many of them that are just in a looking phase may not want to sign up with someone just to go see a house when they're really not ready to be wedded to an agent. But some of the things I've been saying for a long time, like Zillow, Homes.com, a lot of these large search engine machines that really make their money on the back of that commission. Okay. Zillow's revenue is around $2 billion a year. And a lot of that money is just them charging for the traffic. So someone wants to see a house, that lead goes to some strange agent, and then some agent's paying Zillow gobs of money to get some contact because they know there's a promise of 15 grand or 10,000 compensation in the multiple listing service. It exists there already, paying Zillow to get the contact to jump out there and show the house. When that is not a sure thing anymore, I see the amount of traffic, amount of agents being active in a system like that going way, way down, because agents aren't going to want to be like, hey, this is me. I'm a buyer's agent. I provide all these services. You're going to want to hire me because I'm going to be great. And what buyer is going to hire a weak agent to promise to pay them a fee that the buyer themselves might actually have to pay, right? It's one thing to hire a puppy agent that just got out of real estate school and be like, you'll be okay. Just walk me here. You got a pulse. Help me in the house. That stuff changes whenever the buyer might actually have to pay that person. They're going to look at them and be like, how much are you really worth to my transaction? I might just call the listing agent instead. And so you're going to see a huge attrition because, as we know, there is an 80% attrition rate in real estate. There's a fail rate within 5 years that most agents don't even make it to their 5th year, which means we're a ever increasing business of people getting in and people getting out. So you're going to see a whole lot of those hangers-ons that are saying, well, it's kind of hard, but I really hope I can get this thing through and make it. I think you're going to see a lot of the base of agents just disappear. In my market, last time I looked, it was around 85% of all realtors don't even close a single property on a monthly basis. They close one house every other month, 6 houses, which is really not a great living. I mean, it's okay, but by the time you have all of your expenses for gas, brokerages, and all that, you're probably getting by, and you could probably do anything else with a lot less risk of having potential income ups and downs that we experience in real estate. So that's it, folks. That's the latest. We're going to have to watch this and see what happens if the court approves it. And I will tell you, National Association of Realtors have been proposing a whole lot of things over the last 4 or 5 years. The Department of Justice has been on their case, the Federal Trade Commissions. All these entities have really not liked the structure of our business and cracking down. And they've really been saying no to a lot of things. So I'm sure they will have some influence on the court if they like this or not. We'll have to see how it goes. I'm sure there's going to be some changes to come. But that's the news right now. Jump in the comments and let me know what you think. And smash the like button if you appreciate this update. We'll talk to you real soon.